One order of business I would like to discuss prior to getting on with the program. Usually Tea-Party Patriots has their meetings on the fourth Monday of every month. However, we have a conflict in the month of May because of Memorial Day. Consequently, we will not be having a meeting next month, but from here on out toward the end of the year, please mark out on your calendar and keep your eye open for, the correspondence indicating, what our programs are throughout the year. One of the great things about having a candidates night is that you get more people, particularly ones that are running for office, but people from, let's say, maybe a broader base than the Tea Party, is normally known for. Because we have Democratic candidates in the primary, we have Republican candidates, and we want everyone to know that both Democrats, Republicans, and Independents are always welcome at our Tea Party. So, keep in mind if you get a correspondence from it, if you sign the list, then you will be getting correspondence that gives you information about the meetings that we have, and you're always welcome to come out and visit us on the fourth Monday, every month. Now, when we decided to have this, it was, somewhat complicated. I looked at the list, there are 150 people running for office in Monroe County. I said, come on, how are we going to do this? And so I left town for 3 weeks. And, things always tend to work out. Are there no candidates going to show up, or are there going to be 103 candidates showing up, each having 30 seconds to discuss the position? But it worked out very well. I figured if we had around 20 to 25 candidates, that would be perfect for, what we're attempting to accomplish, and possibly have a question and answer period after each candidate has the opportunity to speak. And we're talking about 3 to 4 minutes. We're talking about giving us some background that you have on yourself, what your involvement has been before, what office you're running for, and maybe the primary thing that you would like to accomplish if you get elected to that office. Because, it's important that as a community, we encourage a lot more people to become candidates, to run for office, to become politically active and involved, because that's the only way we're going to change things, for the better. So we've really broken this down into different offices that we have. Not all of them are covered, and certainly, we put the word out, and the people who responded to our ovation are the ones that got on the schedule. If there are any other candidates in the audience that aren't, and at some point want to speak, we are going to try to have a question and answer period after the candidates that responded to join us tonight, have their say. We have a candidate for the Supreme Court. His name is George, and he was going to come, but I got a call late in the afternoon that he got tied up in southern Pennsylvania and would not be here. We have the county commissioner's race. We have the sheriff who's running for office. He is here. We have the recorder of deeds, some candidates there, and the Prothonotary and clerk of the court. We have the township and borough officials, and we have the school boards. A lot of people are running for office. And I think it's a credit to you all to run for office and do your civic duty and get elected and help this county, as we move forward. So as I said, you're allotted 4 minutes. Pete is going to be on his watch, and hopefully hopefully we'll all adhere to the time frame that we have to discuss it. We are fortunate to have Pete Bagley, one of our key members, who will be handling the program from this point out. And, you know, let's give Pete a hand. And
thank you all so much, and I really appreciate you coming. How about a hand for Greer Haslam? Well, as he said, we have a good amount of candidates. I don't know if they've decided among themselves who would go first or not, but for the most part, I think I try to follow the rule of an incumbent speaking first. With that in mind, we have two incumbent county commissioners here. So Mr. John Moyer, county commissioner, will begin the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Every time you think somebody, that everybody that is in a room knows you, I'm reminded of attending the historical challenge for high school kids the other day, and there was a tiebreaker. The one kid clearly won number one, but there were two kids that were tied for number two, and the tiebreaker was, who are two of the three county commissioners? Pretty easy for me. I can remember 2 out of the 3 very easily. The first kid says, well, James Morgan. No. The second kid, and I thought, well, you know, he says Charles Garris and Suzanne McCool. That's where I am in the process. But thank you again for inviting me. I was here, privileged to talk to you a couple of months ago about what Charlie and I have accomplished and not accomplished during our first 4 years. I am privileged to serve as the chairman of the Board of Commissioners and have for 3.5 years. And the good thing about the commissioner's office is that it takes 3 to make the decision. So once you're past the who are you registered as a Republican or a Democrat so you can sign my petition, the rest of it goes by the by. I mean, we truly try to look at each issue that comes up to make a decision based on what's good for all of Monroe County rather than what's good for the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independents, or any other group. And I find that to be very, very good. There are very few times that we disagree among the 3 of us, and there are as many times that Charlie and Suzanne, or Suzanne and I, or somehow we pair up and make the decision. But that's the way America is supposed to work, and I'm happy that it does operate that way. When it comes to what have we done, I guess the biggest accomplishment that we've had is that we've secured fiscal stability for the county. The first 2.5 years were basically spent trying to figure out, do we know where the next dollar is coming from, and do we know where we want to spend that dollar most wisely? At this point in time, we can pretty much be assured, unless there's some tragedy that befalls us, that we're looking at stable taxes for the past 4 years, and I see us not having a tax increase going into next year. And I would say that whether I was running for re-election or not. But what we really have to do from this point forward is to decide where we wish to spend the money that we've got. Because when you don't know where the next dollar is coming from, basically your whole focus is on it. Now that we've got a few dollars, what are we going to do with that money to benefit Monroe County? And any of us, I think, that are running for office would say probably the top 3 problems that we've got in Monroe County are taxes, taxes, and taxes. And I think that the Commissioner's office interacts in 3 ways with that issue. One is, we as well as you need to keep the pressure on our 3 representatives and our state senator to do what they said they were going to do when they campaigned. I mean, we can write letters till the cows come home. They are the 4 individuals that have said our top goal is to reduce property tax, school property tax specifically. Keep on them. I mean, we've got to all do that. We do it. It relies on you to do it as well. Second thing is, at all levels, whether it's county, municipal, or school, we need to realize that our dreams are infinite, but our ability to finance is finite. I mean, we can all wish that we had enough money to do certain things, but we've also got to realize that the citizens of Monroe County are only capable and willing to pay so much in tax to fund those ideas that we've got. So again, of all the things you'd like to do, let's pare it down. And the third thing is, I believe firmly that we need to facilitate economic development throughout the community. Not because I wish to ruin the landscape, but because the only way to take some of the burden off of the individual citizen is to push it off on the businesses. And we've certainly got challenges ahead of us, including infrastructure and training of people to work in these jobs and funding. I mean, this is not a game for a poor man. These are things that we need to do, and I think all of those need to focus on tax, and that's the issue that I believe is most important to the county, and I'll do everything I can to try to maintain them. So, questions or comments, or if not, Charlie is here to mop up, as he says, everything that I've forgotten.
We have another incumbent. One order of business, perhaps there's some of you wondering what the Wi-Fi password is. It's flower pot, one word, lowercase. Charlie Garris, County Commissioner.
I want to say it's always a pleasure to work with John Moyer. He writes all the letters, and Suzanne and I just sit back and sign them. But that's the college professor league. So. But there's three things that come to my mind tonight that I just want to briefly discuss with you. First, but let me tell you first that I've been the mayor of East Stroudsburg. I was a council member of East Stroudsburg. I served 15 years on the Pocono Medical Center board. I served 4 years as chairman of that board. I currently serve on the Broadhead Creek Water Authority, and John mentioned something about infrastructure. When you go up 9th Street in Stroudsburg, those stores wouldn't be there today if the sewer line and the water line had not been run up there by the Broadhead Creek Water Authority, because they don't exist without water and sewer. Now that sewer line runs all the way up to Swiftwater for the Sanofi folks. It has recently been continued up to the Pocono Plateau, you might say the Pocono Manor, which allowed the creation of Kalahari Resort. And I don't know if any of you have been near Kalahari Resort lately, but eventually when it's finished out, it'll be 1,200 rooms. It'll be I think it's a 300,000 square foot convention center. This is a game changer for the Poconos. They will bring conventions in here that will have 2,000 or 3,000 people. This will not only be good for their resort, but everything else on top of the mountain will also benefit from that. The second thing is bringing industry to Monroe County. We commissioners have been very supportive of our IDA up in the plateau. That's where their offices are. Right today, the Industrial Development Authority owes the county, who loaned them $7.3 million over the past couple of years. So it's not that they're not well funded. It's just that it's very difficult to bring business into Pennsylvania. We are probably the first highest corporate tax on industries in the Commonwealth. They say Iowa is, but in Iowa they allow corporations to deduct the tax that they pay to some entity, I forget what it is, but it really lowers them below Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the worst. Now, as John said, our state reps and senator, they mouth the story, oh, we're for this and we're for that. But if they really want to get the work out there in Harrisburg, they can change the corporate tax, which will bring more corporations to Pennsylvania. And also get rid of some of the red tape. You just can't be driving new businesses out of the community because it takes 2 years to get a permit for this or that. And the third thing I want to address is Pleasant Valley Nursing Home. We have worked very hard in the past 3 years and 4 months to bring Pleasant Valley Manor into the black. We'll probably never get it totally into the black, but we're not sending out $1 million a year like we were sending out a couple of years ago. It's a very difficult business. Only 23 nursing homes left in Pennsylvania operated by counties. Most counties are selling them off. The most recent was Schuylkill County. They sold their nursing home off. Before that was Beaver County. They had a 400-bed nursing home which they sold off. Anybody who reads the Eastern Times, you'll see that down in Northampton County is going to have to send $7 million to Gracedale this year to keep it afloat. So we're working very hard. We had it almost in the black last year. I think it ended up costing the county $174,000. Prior to that, we were sending out $1 million a year of the taxpayers' money. Now, it might not sound a lot to some people, but it comes out of your tax bills. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. One other piece of information, the T.E.A.Party has a YouTube channel, so this will be posted shortly thereafter. If you go to YouTube and you search Pocono T.E.A.Party, you'll see the channel there. We have about 30 videos up there so far of past speakers. Of course, all the candidates are free to share it. I will try to edit so it's just you speaking, but that tends to take a lot of time. Yeah. Anyway, we have 4 candidates for county commissioner on the Democrat side. 2 are here tonight. 1 couldn't make it, and 1 may be coming a little bit later. He's at a council on government meeting, so if he shows up, I might interrupt the flow of the agenda to let him speak. For now, I'd like to invite John Christy up, Democrat candidate for county commissioner.
Hi, my name's John Christy. I've been a resident of Monroe County for about 28, 29 years. I have 2 children, 14 and 11. My 14-year-old took a rock that I found in Shawnee the other day and took it to school. And his science teacher explained that it was 300 million years old. So I knew it was something a little older than John. Cute. I serve on the Planning Commission of Stroud Township, and I have to say I've been very proud of what we do in Stroud Township. And I think it's what I'd like to see done throughout the county, and I think it is done throughout the county. We have a diverse group of volunteers who like to spend their time seeing our township grow, and I think that there's many people that would like to see the county grow. When I look through the plan for economic development in Monroe County, I see an awful lot of the things that we do in Stroud. We have sketch plans. Somebody can come in with an idea. Our zoning officer and our township engineer is more than happy to go over what regulations those people would face and how can we facilitate this project. When I say facilitate, that's kind of like what I see as the county commissioner would do on an awful lot of things. The commissioners, as I see it, are in charge of certain entities of the county, but what they really do is look down the road to see the cause and effect of different situations in the county. And they have to be the shepherds of the county. We have different things coming into the county, like Charlie talked about Kalahari and Sanofi. If you want to get a job at Sanofi on their production line, you have to have a college degree, okay? We have to have our educational processes so that we get kids to graduate and go to college. We also have Monroe County Technical School. There is a vast need for people in HVAC, electricians, and so on, that all facilitate our development here. We can't build unless we have the people that can build in the area. I have come from a background of construction and infrastructure, and I felt old when I read that Oriana Roth was retiring from the Conservation District, and I knew Oriana before she went to the Conservation District and worked with her. I think that we have to become more fluid from the conservation standpoint. When I go on a job site and I see, when I was working at Camelback, when Jack Muschlitz, who was head of the excavating company, when Jack came on site, everybody was respectful and understand what Jack did on that site. Think of the Conservation District when they come on site. Everybody has to be respectful and understanding of what the Conservation District does. The Conservation District should be a little bit more, I want to say, when we use the term best management practices in conservation, we have to be flexible in how everything works because a job site is constantly changing. And I think the Conservation District has to change with us, and we all have to work together so that our projects can go through. One of the key things that I think is really key from the Planning Commission that the county has is an inventory of all the building sites in the county. This isn't just the economic development sites, but any site that somebody would like to develop or be interested in developing should be put into a database so that when XYZ company is interested in coming to the Poconos, that they have a site that they can look at to look at different places that maybe they could develop in. We live in a really unique area. We are rural, we have industry. When you drive out to Eldridge and then you drive into Stroud Township, it's a different mix. We have a great change in our area, okay? I don't know the correct terminology, but we have a diverse area that we come from. And I think that's key in keeping that in sight. Like I say, my name is John Christy, and it's a pleasure meeting you.
Wonderful. We have another candidate on the Democrat side, Reames, County Commissioner.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. All right, good. Talking to a lot of crowd. My name is Reames. I'm from Stroud Township, running for a county commissioner. I think all three of the candidates spoke about some of the issues, again, that I agree on. I think that we need to move forward in economic development. Ms. Moyer mentioned that we don't want to change the landscape. Neither do I. But as you most know, if you travel throughout the county, we have a lot of empty buildings. We have a lot of, how can I say it? We have a lot of economic parks, as we supposed to have infiltrated them and put them together. We're doing a bad job of that. And so I understand that PA has a high tax on business, and we can go on and on about what are the issues that are stopping us. I think we need to focus on what are the issues that are going to move us forward. So we have a unique perspective here. It's three people on the commissioner's board. There is a possibility that I may come on and be a minority. There's a possibility you may come on and be a majority. And I think that you need to know how the individual is going to operate in both circumstances. That's important. So yes, economic development is very important to me. I released an economic development plan today that detailed how I believe the county should go forward. I think not only should we attract businesses, but we really need to focus on also how to maintain the businesses that are here so that they don't leave. We're already in a tough situation. So that needs to be a key point for us. Also too, I think we need to reinvest in our communities. We need to show from the county commissioner's point of view that we care about our communities. I'm not saying that anyone does that are on the board. I'm saying for me personally, I think that we need to reinvest. I talk to people from Toledo. I talk to people down to Delaware Water Gap, from Mount Pocono, to East Stroudsburg, to Stroudsburg, Stroud Township, as I've been knocking on doors and campaigning. People are hurting. They're paying high taxes. They've got to travel far to get a living wage job. And I think that we need to do all that we can to put our resources in the best way. I disagree on some things that the current commissioners have done. And there's some things that I agree with them. Some of the things I feel they should have went another way. I don't think that we need to really hone in on wasteful spending. Some things, some projects that I personally would not have voted for. I stand by my convictions on that. I have asked them questions on those. I don't think that there was wise spending on some things. We need to make sure that we have spending that's correct. I want to make sure that when you give me your ability to be your commissioner, that you can trust me that I will spend your tax dollars wisely. Now, I think Mr. Moyer, Mr. Garris, and Ms. Gould are outstanding individuals. I see them all the time. We have cordial relations. However, there are going to be issues that we're going to disagree on. And there's going to be issues that we are going to agree on. Well, what I will say this, is that every candidate on the Democratic side, the Republicans, I think all of us have the ability to want to move Monroe County forward. And I think that's a great opportunity for people who may see different things on different spectrums to come together and say, how can we best work together to move Monroe County forward? And so, again, for the Democrats in the building, that was a joke. On May 19th, I look forward to having your vote. But if I'm fortunate to move forward and to go forward and go good, I look forward to working with you all to say that, yes, we can move Monroe County forward. My name is Reames, I run for County Commissioner.
And the questions will come afterwards. I would just remind the candidates to please try to keep your talk down to 3 minutes if you could. Being in bands all my life, being a musician, I'm not in the habit of calling sheriffs to the microphone, but it's a pleasure to do so tonight. Please welcome Todd Martin, Sheriff.
Thank you very much. I want to welcome you all here. Great opportunity to speak to a wide range of people with a wide range of interesting opportunities and goals, no matter what office we are here for and we represent. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Todd Martin. I'm currently the Sheriff of Monroe County. I've been in the Sheriff's Office for going on my 33rd year, and I just completed my 20th year as Sheriff. What I can tell you is I love my job. I enjoy working for the people. I think that's the most important here that we all need to recognize is the fact that we work for the people. The people have a say in what we do, and people have a say in what we don't do. And that's a huge responsibility that individuals have to handle on a daily basis. People may want to know a little about what my background is. My background is I started off as a sheriff's deputy in 1982. I was promoted to corporal, I was promoted to sergeant, I was promoted to chief. I was appointed sheriff in 1995 and elected in 1995, and I've been sheriff since 1995, and that's something that I'm extremely, extremely proud of because I never ever thought that I would be the sheriff of Monroe County. And it is an honor to represent all of you every day. My staff and I have been extremely, extremely committed to providing professional and effective and efficient service here in Monroe County. We do our best with the resources that we have, and I think that you can see from what I would always call our report card, every 4 terms that we move forward. We try to do the best we can. We don't get an opportunity to make a lot of personal decisions in what we do because we have to follow the law and follow the laws. So therefore, the majority of the time, 50% of the people are happy in things that happen in the community, and there's 50% of the people that aren't happy. And it's very difficult to handle that, but I think we try to do the best we possibly can. The Sheriff's Office is a unique position and has been for many years. I was very proud when I went around to get signatures, how many people said to me, why do you have to go out and do this all over again? That was number one. And number two is, one person said this to me, which I was very honored, is, you know, it really doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. You're our sheriff. It doesn't matter. And I think that's important too, because too many times, too many people look at it from D's and R's and libertarians and independents and that, and it's not the party that we work for. If you really commit yourself, it's you and what you do. I live in Stroud Township. I moved here from Keeler, Florida. I know people wonder why I may have done that. But I went to college at ESU, met my wife. I've been married 32 years. I have 3 wonderful children. I live in Stroud Township, and I am honored to not only be your sheriff, but I'm honored over the past 20 years to be the people's choice in Monroe County, and I'm looking forward to it again this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. We have one of the candidates for Borough Council that has to attend the Council on Governments meeting So I thought I would ask her to come up and speak briefly before us. Ms. Claudette Williams, candidate, current incumbent, Mount Pocono Borough Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, I'll have to run out because of government, council and government that is happening in Mount Pocono. And we have a little meeting session right after. But my name is Claudette Williams, and just in case you're wondering where this beautiful accent is from, I was born in Jamaica. I say this. Beautiful island of sunshine, right? Okay, I'm currently a councilwoman in Mount Pocono and the chair of the Monroe County Democratic Party. I am a vet, United States Army vet, 29 years service, 7 months. I retired after 29 years at the rank of Sergeant Major, and I have served in Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I've done the Iraq and Afghanistan stands, different tours. I must say it is a privilege to be a councilwoman in Mount Pocono, and I'm one of those individuals that wear many hats. You know, councilwoman, Monroe County Democratic Chair, recently appointed to the police commissioner in Mount Pocono for the regional police. So I just have to be careful which hat I'm putting on every time. And I mean, it's really a big job. But most of it is about leadership. And with my experience in the military, that is what my role was, leadership, leading 3,500 soldiers throughout Afghanistan, and making sure that everyone is home safe and you can give accountability for where your soldiers are at what time is what I do. I know how to do best. Currently, some of our issues in Mount Pocono is just the awareness of the culture, the diversity of the culture in Mount Pocono. And so it's a little bit hard when you're used to the old ways to get people to change. So we have to be aware of that. And as a councilwoman in Mount Pocono, there's a lot of things that people find me. I don't know how they find me. They will be at my house and they will call me and they find me, and I'm always open and I'm ready to answer questions. I get the divorce issues, I get the immigration issues, and I guess because of my background, people will come to me with immigration issues, and I try to point them in the right direction. So being a councilwoman in Mount Pocono is a lot of issues that we need to face. A lot of the candidates speak about infrastructure, economic development. We have those same issues. You take a ride throughout Mount Pocono in our downtown area, and you look at our buildings to your right and your left, you could see that we're hurting, and we need new business in Mount Pocono. As the chair of Monroe County, I am honored to be sitting in that position, and I just want everyone to know where we're located, and we're at 18 South 9th Street, and our meetings are every third Thursday. The Democratic Party, we are inclusive. Okay, we do not exclude anyone, and I'm always publicizing my number, where we're located, where we're located. If you have any issues or anything that you need to speak to us about, you know where to find us, or call our offices, or just look in the website. We have a website that shows everything that we do in Monroe County. I can see as I look, I can see that my time is running out. But as I look around the room, I can see the many candidates, Democratic candidates that we have. And I'm glad that they're all here tonight, that you individuals can get a chance to meet these candidates. Again, I'm Claudette Williams, Chairwoman of Monroe County Democratic Party, Councilwoman of Mount Pocono, and Commissioner of Mount Pocono Regional Police. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We have two candidates here tonight for recorder of wills and deeds. Sorry, did I say it wrong? It's register and record.
Register and
Right,
record.
thank you.
Gotta get all the words in there.
It's a lot. But for the Republican primary, there's two candidates. If Kirsten Fiero would come up first.
is Kirsten Fiero, and I'm too close to the microphone. I am running for Monroe County Register of Wills and Recorder of Deeds. I am a lifelong resident of Monroe County. I graduated from Stroudsburg High School in 1987. One of my teachers is sitting here today. I graduated from Albright College, and I got a degree in German and philosophy. As you can imagine, that did not exactly parlay itself into the career of the century I thought it would. I really thought I could end up being a translator at the UN, but the one thing about coming from a small county and going to a small college is you don't always know what all your opportunities are until after the fact. Luckily for me, my mom, Bobby Marsh, had founded a title company back in 1983 called American Abstract. For those of you who are not familiar with title insurance, what that is the property records search that are conducted prior to purchasing real estate, refinancing, anything that has to do with real estate, your mortgages, your deeds. It's actually quite an important office because all those records are stored and maintained and indexed in that office. In the Register of Wills office is where obviously the wills are recorded. Again, due to the nature of the business, I've spent 20 years in both the Recorder of Deeds and Register of Wills office. In 1983, when my mom started that company, there were clearly no child labor laws in effect. So I was promptly put to work at 13, and every summer and every school break between that 1983 and 1992, I learned from the bottom up. I learned adversing, which is the most basic form of title search. I became an administrator in the office. I eventually took the reins over and have been running the title company basically by myself, sometimes with my mom, but I gotta give her a little break now and then. And I've closed over 7,000 real estate transactions. So 20 years in those offices, I feel, has prepared me quite well to bring experience not only on how to use the offices themselves, the records that are contained within, but also as somebody who was the title agent, who brought the documents in for filing, who knows where there's going to be some improvements made down the line in these two offices, which brings me to what I would do if I were to get your vote and I were to win the final election in November. The biggest thing that I've been listening to amongst all the county employees is the lack of customer service. Whether you are an attorney, a title searcher, or just the regular layperson who wants to come in and see if their mortgage was satisfied properly, you deserve to be greeted with a smile, with some pleasantries, with some knowledge, and definitely with the attitude of service before self. I want to make sure that everybody who comes in is assisted in the way that they need to be with the right attitude, that they're not told you've come in too late in the office for something to happen. The hour's 8:30 to 4:30, we will work from 8:30 to 4:30. I do not intend this to be a part-time position for me. I do not intend to show up twice a month to collect a paycheck. I intend to be there every day. I intend to be in the office front and center. I know where Helen's office currently is. If I win, I'm moving it, because I want to be able to make sure that the customer service is in fact what it needs to be. With that being said, I hope that you all feel that you've gotten to know me a little bit better tonight, and I ask for your vote on May 19th. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. I'd like to call up Josephine Ferro, candidate.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the T.E.A.Party for always putting together the candidates and welcoming the public to learn more about us. I would like to say that my working backgrounds, and I won't say my career because my career has been raising 4 children, but my work history is predicated upon making things better. And that happened because my first job out of school was with a trucking company. And I took on the challenge there. It was a trucking company that had gone through 2 longshoreman strikes and had managed to stay afloat. And they were barely doing so. So I took that on, and within a year and a half, the company was in the black and running very, very successfully. And it got me to thinking that what I really like to do is to make things better. So relative to this position, I started in the Register of Wills office over 5 years ago, and I was only part-time then. That was the only position that was open. I worked 3 days, and my counterpart worked 2. But it wasn't shortly thereafter that she no longer wanted to work, and Helen offered me the position part-time. Helen had concerns about the Register of Wills office. She wanted to see some improvement there, and she asked me if I would take on the challenge, and I readily did so. In the short time I've been there, we have modernized. We have a document turnaround of 24 hours. We are complimented every day. I have to say that the past 3 weeks, I wondered if the moon did not wane because we have been bombarded with phone calls, a very unusual amount of phone calls asking us how we can help certain people. And I'm so proud of the way my coworker and myself, how we maintain our patience and we answer every question with dignity and respect. We get compliments every day. I also, when I have some free time, which hasn't been much lately, but on my lunch hour, on a break, I will go into the deeds office and I will review the indexing. Like I said, I have so much experience that it's really not difficult. I'm very, very proud of the women who work in those offices. It's very, very easy to hear from the malcontents. It's human nature that we will sometimes always readily, when we think we're not treated properly, pick up the phone and make a complaint. But oftentimes we don't make the time to say the positive things and the good things of our experience. We are a very, very helpful customer service office. Both offices are. Is there room for improvement? My whole career has been predicated upon the fact that there is always room for improvement. I am always looking for ways to improve. As a matter of fact, in the Register of Wills office, that went so far as to change our whole setup, so there was no backup, and people had more room to work and come in and do their business. As far as taxes and revenue go, we've heard some of that from the commissioners. We are an office that we produce revenue, and that helps to keep taxes down. We don't cost the county any money, and we've been able to put systems in place where revenue is monitored more closely with terms of additional probate. Sometimes lawyers aren't sure what an estate is going to be worth, and we have to make sure that we get the proper fees later on. We do that. So many different things. On a personal note, I've been married for 41 years. I'm a resident of Monroe County for 26. My 4 children graduated the East Stroudsburg Area School District. 2 of them teach in that district right now. And 1 is resident of DC. And the other, my son, is the supervisor at the East Stroudsburg Area Post Office. So I'm very proud of my family. I enjoy the company of 6 grandchildren. And I welcome the end of the evening for any questions you may have. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Josephine. And just a reminder to the candidates that there is a stopwatch up here on the podium. Care to glance down at it once in a while. No, that's why I'm letting everyone know now. We do have a Democrat candidate for Register of Wills, Recorder of Deeds, Mr. Hector Cintron.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hector Cintron, and I'm running for Register of Wills, Recorder of Deeds on the Democratic side. I am a veteran, I'm a taxpayer, I'm a grandfather of 4 grandkids. I'm a product of public education. I'm proud of it. I went to one of the best high schools that this country can give you, Brooklyn Tech. I have a college degree in engineering, and I have a master's in business administration. And I work for one of the top 100 companies in the world, most admired around the world, Prudential Financial. And we have over $3 trillion in management assets. I have worked as a manager for them for 25 years. But before I went to them, I worked for Citizens Mortgage Company. I worked for Bruce Penn Associates, who is a title company. This office is a very important office. And if elected to that office, I will operate under 4 values. Worthy of trust, I will keep the promises that I commit to, and doing business the right way. The office will flourish because it will earn the people's trust. I will safeguard all your records and your interests. We will comply with all applicable laws and regulations. The next one will be customer focus. I will provide quality services that will meet your expectations. Third will be respect for each other. I will be inclusive and cooperative. I will work together with employees to build relationships based on mutual respect. We will listen actively and speak honestly and fairly. And I will create a winning attitude. I will set best practices so that the employees know how to treat its people. I too will be in that office every day. You will see my face. I will join the county elected officials in going out and trying to solicit companies to come to this great heaven-like environment, because we live here, and I love this place. I've been here for 16 years, and every day I am proud to come to this county. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hector Cintron, and I'm running for Register of Wills Recorder of Deeds.
Thank you, Mr. Cintron. Okay, Clerk of Courts, Prothonotary is our next race. We have the Democratic nominee, Stacy Stewart Keeler. Please welcome her.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stacy Stewart Keeler, and I'm running for Prothonotary and Clerk of Courts. This is my first time running for office. I don't have what I'm going to do all yet. I am a mom, a wife, small business owner. I live in Mount Pocono for the past 9 years. I'm the secretary of Mount Pocono Rotary. I'm the committee woman of Mount Pocono. And Ms. Claudette Williams, my neighbor and friend, has challenged me to step forward, and I am, because when she came home from the service, I challenged her to step forward. This is one of the reasons why she does a lot that she does, because I've been very involved in this community since I came here. I've been a Chamber of Commerce member. I support a lot of charities like Family Promise, Women's Resources, American Red Cross, Cancer Society, the list goes on and on. As I said, I'm a Rotarian, so that's a very big part of my life. And my son is a graduate of Pocono Mountain East, going to Northampton Community College, which I fought very hard with a lot of other people to get that campus here in Tannersville, even though now he's traveling all the way to Bethlehem, but it's a good thing. Anything that has to do with education. I went to college to be an educator. I do have a degree in elementary education. Having taught, I've been a salesperson all my life. And that's about it. Next time I come to hear from me, I will let you know what I'm going to do in the Prothonotary office.
to the candidates that come in under 3 minutes. The incumbent for that seat is not here tonight, so we will move on to township and borough officials. Stroudsburg Borough Council has a race in the 2nd Ward. We have the candidate here, Cherese.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to speak with you this evening. My name is Cherese Span for Stroudsburg Borough Council. I have been a resident of Stroudsburg and Monroe County for the past 16 years. I've also been a small business owner for the past 15 years. And I've been a small business owner in the borough for the past 5 years. With all of that said, there are a lot of issues going on in the borough that need to be addressed. A lot of the business owners have complaints, and we love our town. It's, you know, it's the heart of Monroe County. People come from miles around to shop for antiques and that sort of thing. But there's a lot of different things going on. One issue we have is the panhandling issue that needs to be addressed at the moment, because we're scaring our potential clients away when they come in to patronize our stores and they're being asked for money, or we have the homeless situation, people sitting out on our sidewalks with their signs and that sort of thing, which is really not good for the town and for the look, especially as us being a tourist destination. Also, we have empty lots on Main Street that are looking to be built on, and I would love to see something go in them, preferably something that will retain the structure of the town and not change it. We have a parking issue, so if they allow these developers to come in the way that they want to come in, which will further crowd our streets and cause more issues for the potential shoppers who would like to patronize our stores. So with that being said, I'm going to be mindful of the time. I would like to thank you all for your time this evening. Again, my name is Cherese Span. I'm running for Stroudsburg Borough Council, and thank you very much.
Thank you for that. And I do want to take a moment just to acknowledge that the candidate for county controller, the incumbent, is here, Malo Merhaj. She's kind enough to decline speaking.
I didn't know that was an option.
I figured since I'm blessed to not have an opponent, I'm running unopposed, everybody else could speak, there's no way I could come in under 3 minutes.
Thank you. Another name on the agenda here is a candidate for Pocono Township Commissioner. She's seated in the back, Judy Coover. She prefers not to speak as well. The last name on that list is my own, so I'm definitely not going to speak. But now we move on to the school boards. And just by a show of hands, how many school board candidates are here tonight? Boy, that's terrific. Folks, it's such an important position. We all feel the effects of what the school boards do, not just financially, but you trust our children into the schools. Is that Siri telling me to shut up?
I would never do that.
Our first speaker tonight will be for the Stroudsburg School District, Jane Parkinson Hartin.
Hello, my name is Jane Parkinson Hartin, and thank you for listening to me tonight. And I totally agree with Pete. I believe that the school board positions are very, very important, and I think they affect all of us directly, whether we have children in the district or whether or not we do not. Currently, Stroudsburg is suffering some tough situations right now. currently have a rather large deficit that's going to have to be attacked. I feel like right now there's a huge disconnect between how the budget is organized and what comes out of it and the ability of the taxpayer to pay. I believe firmly that two things should always be considered when you're dealing and being responsible for not only other people's children, but other people's money. And I think you always have to take the needs of the student and the ability of the taxpayer to pay. Our community is struggling right now, and I really think, unfortunately, some tough decisions are going to have to be made. But I truly believe that they can be tackled in the proper way. And I would like to take that challenge on. A brief bio. I was raised in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. I'm a product of the Central Bucks school district, which is a very, very good school district. And I'd like to see Stroudsburg raised to those same standards. Graduate of Penn State, BS Biology. I have been in Monroe County for close to 30 years now, even though it seems like 5. I ended up here after traveling around the world and living in several different foreign countries. My husband and I ended up in Stroudsburg in our 20s, and we just never left. I've been a local business owner for close to 30 years. I've managed many different multiple businesses, and I feel with that experience, because you do have to watch the budgets tightly. You do have to watch out where I am is my customer. Here we're experiencing something where our enrollment is decreasing, but our expenses are going up. That makes no sense. We have to get our enrollment back up. We have to make our schools good, but we have to do it within the ability of the taxpayer to pay. I will absolutely, no way, will I look at a budget and say, we need to raise taxes because we need to create revenue. I think we have the expense side of the budget, and we have to utilize what we have on the revenue side wisely. And I think we always have to take the interest of the whole community as a whole, students, senior citizens, taxpayers, and business owners. And I feel that a rising tide will raise all ships, and I believe that we all need to support the positive goals of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I apologize. I said earlier that incumbents would be first and promptly skipped Merlyn Clark, the incumbent Stroudsburg School Board Director. Please come on.
You seem like a thoughtful crowd, so instead of promising you all the miracles that I'm going to perform once elected, I'd like to simply talk about a concern I have. My concern is that it seems to be fashionable to vilify schools, that they are huge monopolies, public schools that is, that they are wasteful and inefficient, that they might probably ought to be replaced, and that we can't trust schools to do a good job. And I'm wondering if that's really a healthy attitude. Now these are conversations which should be had, and I'm not opposed to those conversations, but they need to be within a context. I saw an interesting piece the other day, perhaps some of you did, of some cyber schoolers who were required to go to a hotel to take a standardized exam, and they did very poorly. And it was determined that the reason they did poorly was because they weren't accustomed to mingling with large groups of students. They'd spent their time at home, in their bedrooms, I guess, staring at a computer. And just the experience of being in a hotel room with strange students discombobulated them, and they did poorly on the exams, which apparently is not uncommon. I'm wondering what our community would look like if this is how all children spent their lives and their school years. I think there are a few conservatives in this group. The great father of conservatism, Edmund Burke, spoke of the importance of what he called little platoons. Little platoons. These were what he suggested were the building blocks of our communities. These are the small groups that we belong to, that form the glue that holds society together. And I suggest to you that if you think back to your years in elementary and high school, that this is where you learned a lot of things besides math and science. You learned things about community, about responsibility, about what the old Puritans called civic virtue or Republican virtue. That's small r, Republican virtue. The things that we need to hold a community together. And I submit that that's what the public schools can do. Now, our public school system is over 100 years old. And in spite of all of its flaws and shortcomings, and there are many, it's produced an awful lot of scientists, scholars, statesmen, entrepreneurs, and has been the basis of our prosperity and the generator of a lot of entrepreneurs that has made this country great. I'm not ready to pitch it overboard. There are things about it that need fixing, but it's worth saving. Now, I'll invite you to pick up my flyer here with my biographical information. I've been in the county since 1970. I've got 11 grandkids. I have 5 children. They all went through the Stroudsburg school system. They all went to college. They're all professional people, and they have family. This clock is ticking. I don't know.
Yeah, 3 minutes have gone by a while.
Thank you very much.
Am I the only one who wants to go home and watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? We got the Jimmy Stewart act down. Boy, but I love him. Great American actor. Okay, did you take my agenda with you there? Right. So we do have another candidate for Stroudsburg School Board present tonight, Mr. Rick Torres.
I'll make this short because I know you're all tired while they're all including me. But anyway, I'm a tax accountant here in Stroudsburg. I've been here for about 25, going on 30 years, too long. But I have a tax practice, and my specialty is federal state audits, IRS audits, everything Cintron will call me. But I feel, prior to that, I worked in New York for a big real estate company, and our specialty there was acquisitions and renovations, and we were very good at it. And so I had a lot of experience in construction costs, keeping costs down, and we had a niche of going in and taking over strained properties and making them profitable. So I have a lot of experience in that area. I think I can make a contribution to the school system here in Stroudsburg. I think it does need to be fixed. I think there are some problems there. And I'd like to make a contribution, put some time in and help, see if we can save the schools and get them going in the right direction. That's it, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. you are a candidate that I failed to mention, please raise your hand if I'm moving on to the next school district, as I am now. We have a few candidates for Pocono Mountain School District, and Maria Geffers will come up first.
This is going faster. I should do that. That's okay. That's all right. Hi, I'm Maria Geffers, and I am running for a candidate for Pocono Mountain School District, Region 1. That's Paradise, that's Barrett, and that's the Pocono Townships. Is there anyone here from those areas other than the Coovers? Okay, so I have nothing to lose here. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I believe in SB and support SB 76. I've lived in the Pocono Mountains for over 40 years, and I've been married to the same man, my husband, 42 years, which is something. I've been a teacher for 35 years, 25 of them being here in the Pocono Mountains. I have 3 children. Each of them went to East Stroudsburg Area School District and graduated from there. So I know what it's like to be a public school teacher as well as a public school parent. And I think that's important. I have a unique combination of experiences in both education, civic engagement, and business. And I think I can bring these skills and knowledge to the school board. For over 35 years, I've worked at schools. I've done preschool through adult and including GED education. I've even worked in the jail, which brings us to a whole other story. Very short time. I've been a member of, I've taught in, certified in English, social studies, civics, geography, and gifted education. I've done my graduate work at UPenn, University of Connecticut, the College of William and Mary, and I know what it takes to run a classroom. I've taught in several districts. I finished up in East Stroudsburg Area School District, and I've taught there for 20 years. I've also taught, I'm going quickly, I know, in Lehighton. I've taught in Bangor Area School District, and I've even started my education career at Pocono Central Catholic High School. So I know what a well-run district looks like as well. I've been an evaluation team on the Middle States Accreditation, and that's the organization that goes and looks at different districts, looks at their programs, looks at their policies, curriculum, and makes suggestions and writes prescriptions. So again, I know what it takes to run a district. In the civic engagement, I was elected as a committee person to the Republican committee, the NCRC, for Barrett 1. I've also been elected as a state committee person to represent Monroe County at the state level. As such, I've also been elected to become the secretary of the Northeast Republican Caucus, and I've also been appointed to the Resolutions Committee that actually puts together some of the platforms of the Pennsylvania State Republicans. Business. I have experience in business. I've also worked at a small business where I did accounts receivable, accounts payables, tax preparation, and payroll, as well as working as a treasurer for our Property Owners Association, all of those as well. I've prepared budgets as a classroom teacher with over 135 students. As a team, I worked in the middle school for a while, so we worked as a team. I've done the gifted department education budget as well, and I've also had to propose and reconcile budgets and accounts payable, if you will, for several grants that I had written. So I have business experience as well. The school board has done an excellent job in holding back the taxes, and I want to be a part of that team. But the school board has a direct influence on our most precious possessions, and those possessions are our grandchildren, our children, and our homes. It is the school board that steers the district towards success, or mediocrity, or even failure. And this success, this mediocrity, and this failure will actually directly impact the value of our homes. Do we have one more minute? All right. I'm like Staples, who has an easy button. There are no easy buttons here to fix the problems that have accumulated over 25 years in the school district. We can point fingers and we can play the blame game, but that will only divide us more. It will take time and all our stakeholders working together as a community where people are happy to stay here in the community, Monroe County, as well as people want to get in here. And I think that's important. I have one goal and one promise. I'm committed to the best education for responsible planning. I ask for your support and I ask for your vote on May 19th. I am both on the top of the ticket for both the Democrat and Republican, and I have a Facebook and I also have a website so you can find me and find out more information. And thank you.
This phone went to sleep on it.
I have that effect.
There is another candidate in the primary for Pocono Mountain School Board, Mr. Ed Coover.
Thank you. You've been doing well. Okay, we're toward the end. I believe I'm last. I will not even take 3 minutes. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Eddie Coover. I am one of 6 children. Our family moved to the Poconos in the early 60s. I graduated from Pocono Mountain High School. I went to Stroudsburg University, where I received my teaching degree. 5 other members of my immediate family also have teaching degrees. Education is important to us. My high school sweetheart, Delbert, and I got married, and we're blessed with 6 children. Now we have 9 grandchildren, hopefully more. We own and operate our business, which is the House of Candles, in the Poconos for over 50 years. That's how long we've been here. We have seen the effect of things changing in the Poconos. I'm running for school board because I want to see our schools run well, but I also want to see our schools funded in such a way that it does not force the elderly and those with lower income out of their homes. High property taxes have affected my business, as well as many others. I will use my 18 years of prior experience on other school boards to work with the Pocono Mountain School Boards as they strive to ensure that our schools operate effectively and efficiently. Many things affect school budgets. Some of them are out of our control. It makes it a very challenging job. I will work for the taxpayer, the school, its staff, and especially our students. I respectfully ask for your support and your vote on May 19th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. We do have a couple more school board candidates. I do want to take a moment just to say, you know, the West End tends to be the neglected part of the Poconos. Chuck Gould really keeps it front and center. And Chuck, if you would just stand up and kind of take a bow for all the great work you do. Last night.
Not what I do, it's what all the wonderful people in the West End are doing. That's what's important.
Well said. Last night, Chuck was making phone calls, and he invited 2 school board candidates from Pleasant Valley. We have the incumbent, Russell Gould. If you would come up and say a few words.
Thank you. My name is Russell Gould. I'm up for re-election to the Pleasant Valley School Board. I'm not one to do much talking in front of people here, so I'll probably be one of the shorter ones. But one of the biggest things in the West End is school property taxes. When I decided to run many years ago, that was one of the reasons why I ran. And last Thursday night at our board meeting, we passed our budget with a 0% tax increase for the 15-16 school year. So this will be the 14th in a row now that we have done this. And hopefully we can keep that going. Some of the things that we have done over the years to make that happen is we've given retirement incentives, we refinance our debt, and we actually have our own cyber school at Pleasant Valley, which has about 100+ students in it. So that saves us a significant amount of money. I have been married to my one and only wife for 32 years. I have 2 boys that went to Pleasant Valley School District. We have a farm in Broadisville. We raise produce, Gould's produce. So, yeah, that is the biggest concern in Broadheadsville right now, and it's always been that is school property taxes. So, with that being said, I will do what I can do to keep the taxes low, but without shortchanging our kids, because they do have to have an education. So, with that being said, and we do have a good board right now. I mean, there's 9 of us on the board. There's 5 of us up for re-election. There's 7 candidates vying for a spot. And one thing I could say about our board right now is we don't always agree on stuff. It's impossible for 9 people to agree. But I will say at the end of the day, we tend to make things happen out there. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Russell. We have another candidate for Pleasant Valley School Board, Delbert Zacharias.
Hi, I'm Delbert Zacharias.
Hello.
I decided to run for the school board at the last minute. The day the petition was supposed to be turned in, I was there at 3 o'clock. But I know Russell and a couple of the other guys on the board, and they're the ones that persuaded me, because there was going to be an opening. I didn't know that anybody else was running or anything like that. So I figured, well, I'll give it a try. My wife says I'm crazy, but says I'm too old for it. You know, might be old, but I still feel young. But I was born and raised in the West End, from Daughter's Corner, and I'm married. I have 2 children. I'm a veteran. Served 2 years in the Army, 65 to 67. I didn't go to Vietnam though. I pulled my orders every time. They needed me down in Fort Benning. It was a training school that I was at. I did teach the guys that were going to Vietnam how to lay minefields and all kinds of explosives. So I was a state constable for 9 years, and I was a deputy with the Pennsylvania Fish Commission for a little over 20 years. And I drove truck drivers about all my life. I did this in between. So I got around. I know a lot of people. I know the sheriff. I know him since he's been a sheriff. But Forrest was a good friend of mine too. But there's a lot of things in the school district that got to be changed. And I figured with these guys, I know them, and I know we can get along. I'm a Democrat. Doesn't make a difference to me. Make the best man win. So, I don't know what else to say. I'm new at this business, you know. I'm not much for giving speeches, but I want to thank you all for having me here.
I'd like to take a moment to thank all the candidates that came up here tonight and spoke. If the candidates seated in the first 2 rows wouldn't mind turning their seats around facing the audience, we have about 20 minutes for questions and answers. So if anyone would like to ask a question, maybe you can raise your hand. I'll be able to call upon you, and we can go from there. We have one, and would the questioner just please stand up, speak, and just identify themselves?